psycho. Like you just never know who people are. You can never truly know anyone. I just don't, even your spouse. Like I think you just have to be open to understanding that you are going to just continue to be open and observant and be, I don't see how you can ever be like, yeah, confident, like, yeah, I know who this person is. Like, no.
All right, next question. Yeah, we're not doing black cards starting off first because so
No, you don't play with it. My mouth redless, honey. It's redless. Don't play with it.
All right. So our next question is: You can never truly know anyone. I'm gonna start off with Tawana.
I strongly agree.
You strongly agree, Chris?
Disagree.
Disagree. Robbie?
I too strongly agree.
Strongly agree.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree. Not strongly agree, but I'm gonna agree. I think you. Yeah. So this is how the panel laid out. Chris is on his own side, so you know what that means. He's gonna have to
get him up. Let him get up. Let him get up. Let him get up. Fight back, nigga. Fight back, nigga. Fight back. Fight back.
Y'all gonna stop saying I'm a lie in this chat. Y'all know I tell the truth.
So, all right. So, who do we start off with? Robbie, could you start us off?
Sure. You can't ever know anybody. Most people don't even know themselves. People change every day. Every experience reshapes your personality and your experience. Even when you live with somebody, everybody got a secret. People got their little secret, habits that they do on the internet, honey, down to their DMs, honey, down to their Cash App receipts, honey. They be doing a lot, honey. You think somebody out here doing the right thing, being a good person, they just dirty as hell. I mean, wait.
Chris, what do you say?
Only reason why I disagree.
I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. You're right.
I'll go last.
Yeah, you go last. Tawana, what do you say?
I mean, absolutely 100% everything Robbie said. And just the fact that people marry serial killers, be married 30 years, don't even know they out here killing people. Like people can literally change. The person who you thought you knew 10 years from now can be a totally different person. Everything evolves with humans, and it's just never, to me anyway, to ever be like, yeah, I 100% know who this person is. You always have to be like just watching and notice changes and ask people who they're evolving into. It's always room for evolution. People always are changing. So I don't see how you can possibly just be like so confident that you know who someone is.
Okay. And I agree. I think for the most part, people rarely even know themselves. We're very much changing. There's a lot of experiences that we have that have brought us to this moment. Some of us keep it within ourselves. So I would say, yeah, you can never truly know anyone because you really can never truly know that person's experiences, how they've grown, how they've gotten to that point without being, even brothers and sisters truly don't even know each other or what they're willing to do. Parents don't even truly know their children. So that's the only reason why I would agree. Not strongly, but just agree with that take. So, Chris,
but that'll be the same reason why I disagree, especially when it comes to the family part. It depends on how much devotion and how much you put into someone to actually get to know them, to the point where they don't have to tell you anything. You can just look at body language and notice that there's something going on. Because once someone presents a pattern, that's going to present you the answers, and that's going to reveal a lot of things you would never find out based on them just opening their mouth and talking. So how well you know somebody, it depends how much you invest into them. It could be physical, it could be emotional, spiritual, so on and so forth. You guys heard me say it before the five components. So that's why I strongly disagree. You could, if you really want to know someone, it solely depends on you, not them.
People just rarely tell you the truth. People rarely are very open about how they truly feel in their hearts. I think we believe people are just so authentic and open, and I can tell by your mannerisms and actions and behaviors. That's not always an indicator either, because sometimes people do the opposite of how they feel or what they think. So in my opinion, even that is not a true. You can't just watch somebody's patterns and behaviors and automatically assume, because the man next door, he could be a good father, cut his grass every day. I could see those patterns, I could see that stuff. But then in the inside, he could be dark, and he can be psycho. Like, you just never know who people are. You can never truly know anyone. I just don't. Even your spouse. Like, I think you just have to be open to understanding that you are going to just continue to be open and observant and be, I don't see how you can ever be like, yeah, confident, like, yeah, I know who this person is. Like, no, I don't
Yeah.
see that.
What say you, Chris?
Answer.
No, I'm just if you had anything to rebuttal in regards to that,
Hey, little one, what's going on?
because
Now I'm saying Chris love the kids. Christopher J love the kids. But but it's for this no, just that's what I'm saying is how much do you want to know that person, and you have to study patterns because like for example with like my son, he doesn't have to tell me what's going on. Granted, I ask him because he needs to build some type of verbal communication and to prepare him for the real world. But something going on with that boy, I'm going to find out. Nigga, I know when you walk different. I know when you talk different. I know when you just wow, just y'all see how my son acts before the show starts. I know when you not on that time, it's like, all right, something happened. It's time to, all right, come talk to pops. What's going on? You have to really be invested in individuals to really get to know them to the point to where they don't have to say a word. It could be your family, friends, your co-workers, even strangers on the streets. When they present certain patterns, it's going to tell you a lot. Granted, you got to go through a lot of psychology and a lot of studying to get the answers regarding just strangers. But at the same time, just knowing someone, having an MO, and them determining who they are, what they're doing, and what their moves like, so that you don't to say you can never truly know anyone. I disagree with that.
let me ask you.
In my personal experience, I can say I strongly disagree that, but on a journal across the board, I'm just gonna say I disagree.
Are we confusing this with you can never truly predict people's behavior?
Right. That's
I think
different.
that I think that's kind of, and I'm not saying that's what we were. I have a feeling to say that like, okay, you know what? I don't know what a person's gonna do. I do know a person, but I don't know what they're necessarily gonna do or how they're gonna react based on certain stressors that may or situations that may happen. So in answering this question, I'm just trying my hardest to say you don't know anyone because I don't know what a person has gone through. And but as far as predicting them what they're gonna do based on what I know about them, I can predict like my child. I know kind of what they're gonna do. Sometimes they surprise me, but to say I don't know my child,
Yeah, for
I
the
can
most
never
part, they
truly
do.
know.
They do what we think they gonna do.
Yeah, we think we and she surprises me so much because like her experiences even in school around her friends are so different from my experiences. Even my mom, I don't know much. I would think I know my mom, but there's so many times where I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't know her, so I don't think you can truly know any person. I don't think any other
But if
relationship
they
can bring
show,
you.
Like
You
if
can,
they
you can
show
predict behavior,
patterns,
Chris,
yeah,
but I
patterns, behavior,
understand
they
that.
show all that.
Yeah.
How would you not know?
No, but
Like
I,
how can
I
you miss the sign?
understand predicting behavior because that's different from knowing a person. Because like I know my son, right? I know he gets bored easily and he, things like that. But then when I
Hmm.
go to the school and the teachers are like, "Oh my God, he's such an amazing kid. He's doing this and doing that." I'm like, "Oh,
I
okay."
don't know
Like
this kid.
I know that he's an amazing kid, but it's different when you hear that other people see that and and he's doing so much better than I thought he would do in school. But I do agree that there is certain behaviors that you can predict, right? But like someone like me, for instance, like I grew up in Inglewood, like I grew up around in certain environments, whatever. Like
Hmm.
according to statistics, I should have had a baby at 16 and never graduate college and never, so it's some things that people try to predict about my environment and where I came from that never happened to me. So I
Well,
I
Girl,
think
you
that
say you from Inglewood?
yeah, but in Chicago. Chicago,
Oh, okay.
yeah, which is very
Same
similar.
thing.
Very similar. But yeah, it's definitely but what I'm saying is people try to predict behavior based on that, and that sometimes those statistics do line up, right? Sometimes those things are true, but then what about knowing me personally and being like, you know what, I didn't know, based on what I seen from her, this is what I thought was going to happen to her life, but that's not what happened to her life. You know what I'm saying?
well, no, I get it, but when people bring up statistics, um, I tell them all that's doing is telling me a story. Like if you're going to, like, for example, you say you came from Inglewood, Inglewood somewhere in Chicago, and you say, let's just say the percentage of children supposed to be teenage pregnancy, 85% likely. My next thing will be is why? Why are there so many teen pregnancy? Now let's go ahead and peel back the layers, and now let's have a real conversation. Let's dive deep into it to figure out where did mom and dad went wrong, who's in this environment, what is being exposed. So when that's when people bring up statistics, it's like you could, that's perfectly fine. I'm all for it, but be prepared to have a deeper conversation than that surface level stuff. But I do get what you're saying.
Right. But I guess I was more so trying to understand the difference between predicting behavior based on patterns, because
Hmm.
like the patterns could represent one thing, and then knowing a person, right? And their true intention and what they want. Because I was married for 10 years before this marriage, right? And I know him very well, but I didn't know him. Like there was things that I didn't know, and I mean, and I think for him too, he could say the same thing about me. Like we think we know each other very well. Like I can predict some of the things he's gonna do, but then sometimes he surprises me and he changes up. So I just think that it's hard to say, like I truly know this person. I know him and I know what he was gonna do. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. I don't know. I just think that it's hard to just be like, I truly, you truly know someone and what they're gonna do.
Um, this is the thing. You have people, right, that are in your neighborhoods, and when somebody does something, to Tawana's earlier point, he was such a nice man. I never knew.
I was like, oh, I can't stand them mamas that be doing that too. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I never would have imagined that John had 5 bodies hidden in the wall. Like I don't know if you guys know this,
I'd have
but
been like, you didn't know the kid that always be throwing rocks at the cats had bodies? Okay, right on. Keep going.
no, there was this dude I went to college with. Like literally, we would play spades every day in the dining hall, right? So he's actually one of the only black serial deleters. And we found out like a few months later, he had wild bodies in the walls of his house. So you never know anybody. He was such a nice guy. He really
Robbie, can I tell
swear
y'all a real story? I swear, I'm telling you a real story. I sit in cubicles at my job, where I used to. Okay. The guy that sat next to me, me and him started on the exact same day. So we were in HR together, whatever, you know. And he worked in a different position than me, but he sat right next to me in the cubicle because it was two in each cubicle, and I was in with him. And he came to work that morning, and he was just like, you know how somebody's just all over the place and you're like, what's wrong? And he was like, man, like, I'm not in a good place today. And I was like, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. And he was like, you know what, I'm about to leave and everything. And I was like, well, maybe that's the best thing, you know, just leave and like, we'll see you tomorrow. He was like, no, you won't see me tomorrow. Now me, I'm like, okay, maybe he gonna take off again, right? I didn't get further into it just because I was just kind of like, I don't want to, I didn't know where he was at in his headspace. And an hour later in the news, he goes up to his fiance's job. He kills her, and he killed 3 other people. This is the guy who was just sitting next to me at work. And he went to her job. She was a doctor. Okay. I don't want to say because I don't want people to know.
Right.
And stuff like that. I'll tell you guys off the record later if you want to know the story. He went there, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind because everyone thought he was the nicest guy, the sweetest guy. He was the guy that'll hold the door for you, pick up your, you holding too much stuff. Hey, let me help you, come down. And he was always willing to assist and stuff like that. So it was just like a mind. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we thought he was such a good guy and he was cool. And, of course he had his things going on, but that one day it was just a very, so that's what I'm saying. It's just, I agree with what Robbie's saying to an extent. Like, you don't know what the hell is going on. You don't know these people, and anything can really change your mind. Anything can happen in your life. Menopause changed people.
Right.
Okay. Like so many things.
That's biology, but I hear what you're saying.
But I'm saying some things that a woman could be some way her whole life, and then one thing can just be like, just change and trigger her, and then she could just become a totally different person. So that's what I mean by you just never really truly know someone. That's what we mean. That's what I mean. Not that you can't predict behavior and patterns. You can.
You can say we, because I agree. I agree with what you just said. That's a valid point. Hell, even things in friendships can change who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Being a social media personality can change who you are as a person. Money can change who you are as a person. Hell, I know a lot of people when they was eating franks and beans and rice, honey, they ain't got a couple of dollars, honey. Now they only eat lobster and pasta, honey. They real rude. They real rude.
Money definitely changed you, because I'm telling you.
But that's okay. I think Chris and Eve, I think he was gone last week. I think they said the rich people supposed to take care of the world. So
Yeah.
No, I was there that week. He said that.
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah, he said that. I remember. I was on that call.
I missed
last week, right?
I think it's rich people's responsibility to share with.
You was on drugs then. You're on drugs now.
Just like you think good sex don't have to have an orgasm. Something wrong with you.
Oh, what? Look.
You don't want to make an enemy out of me. And I'm looking right into the camera.
Y'all okay.
What you gonna do? What you gonna try to do? Do a 30 for 30? I got your back, Tawana. We were 30 for 30 your ass.
Listen.
Y'all know I'm vicious, right? Yeah. You know I'm vicious, right?
Vicious.
You know.